Hello everyone and welcome to Power Playground. Man, don't you love it when things just start breaking on you? Today, as I'm about to shoot my tripod here, this little column started shifting down. I guess the bushing in this little collar thing, whatever you want to call it, just failed on me. But little note card to shim it to the rescue. Good as new. Speaking of broken, I'm going to show you all what to look out for when you're purchasing a sous vide unit and what kind of pitfalls you'll want to typically avoid when making a purchase like this. These machines, they can be cheap. If you get bigger, they can get really expensive. Now, I have basically purchased the whole gamut of the sous vide, except for the really cheap ones, because I got in this style of cooking a little over 3 or 4 years ago. When I first got into this was my first sous vide unit. This is a Gourmia sous vide. They no longer make this, unfortunately. If they did, I would highly recommend it because this thing has been through hell and back. I have used it so many times. It is ridiculous, and it's just it's a real trooper of a device here. It hasn't failed on me. Occasionally it'll get loud, but just running a vinegar through it to basically just clear out the pump every once in a while seems to at least keep it going. But yeah, this type of sous vide unit is more or less your ideal sous vide unit. Especially if you're starting out, you probably want to get a tank like this. The wand, like this Anova sous vide unit, I'm gonna go over in a little bit why you may not want to purchase one of these here, because there are a few different issues with these. But first things first, just want to kind of go over how these guys work. Now basically sous vides, they're a very simple machine. They have a heating element, temperature sensor to tell what the temperature is, and a circulating pump or impeller. Now this particular model has a pump, so it's built inside the side here, and it just sucks water in, and as you can see, bumped up the ISO so you can see the little hole. That's where the water comes out to circulate, so it just goes all around, and it evenly, basically it is a water bath. You stick your meats or whatever you want to cook into it, and it'll evenly circulate all the heat around the meat and evenly cook it, or at least, I guess you could call it cooking. It's not exactly, you're not burning it or anything. You're not cooking with fire or heat essentially you'd have a charring, a Maillard effect type situation going on where your meats are going to be you're gonna have a bit of a crust, bit of a burn, sear to them. Yeah, there we go. Lost for words right now. It's a very cool little thing because you can fine tune the temperature very precisely. For instance, if you want a medium rare steak, you could set it to the temperature. Usually that'd be closer to 130 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit, and that would get you the perfect steak. Let's turn down that ISO because it's a bit much. You could also cook things for longer. So say if you have a really cheap cut of beef and you want it to be super tender, you could cook it for hours up. This guy right here will do up to 24 hours. Most other modern sous vide units will go up to 99 hours. That's the only thing I hate about this guy, besides the size limitation, which is, it's okay. You can get around with that by chopping things up and putting them in individual bags. This guy right here only goes up to 24 hours, which a lot of things really benefit from 72 hours. I've done goat ribs. Those are really good for 48 to 72 hours, depending on how tender you want it. Like I said, this is a decent unit. They don't sell it anymore, which is a big bummer. I think there are some other brands that sell a very similar unit, but I don't know if it's of the same build quality. Gourmia is very solid. I have at least 3 Gourmia appliances. I have a waffle iron and their dehydrator, and they are both pretty solid pieces of machinery along with this here as well. So what if you want something bigger, or if you want maybe a more versatile solution where you don't want to buy 2 sous vide units, a big one and a small one? Well, you might want to go ahead and get a wand type sous vide, which I guess you could call this a wand. It's pretty bulky for a wand. I don't know, more like a, let's crack this baby open. I'm gonna show you what's going on here. Now this unit is currently have a bit of issue with it. I'm going to send it back, so I'm trying to do this video here just to show you all some failure points before I get a brand new one. It's pretty simple little operation. Instead of a pump, you have this impeller blade that just spins around, and there's a little just a little channel in here that flows the water around, that just spits it out and recirculates it around. You with the bigger volume water, it may have issues like completely circulating it and maybe a bit slower than the other units, but it should work all right. I haven't had any issues where any like things would cook too unevenly unless if you packed them wrong in the vacuum pack. But this guy right here, there's 3 major issues I've seen with it. First, there's a bit of a rust. Now I cleaned this up a bit. I'll show you a picture I had of it. There's a bit of rust on these temperature probes, which is about 3 of them. So this one had some rust, and I noticed a bit of rust on the bottom of the impeller blade, which I cleaned up pretty good, but there's still a bit of scale on there. I've tried to knock it off, but there was still a little bit of residual stuff left behind. I noticed I cleaned this probe a couple times and it was still coming back, which is a bit concerning considering that this thing is designed to, you know, stick in water for extended periods of time, you know, up to like 99 hours of what that's the max amount of time they're rated for, should be rated for. Now the second issue is this impeller blade. A lot of these wand style sous vides, and this is something you really want to watch out for when it comes to like reading reviews for these guys, is this impeller blade can get out of bent. It's actually, as you can see, I'm able to flex it pretty easily. So typically this issue is remedied by just bending it back in place, but whatever bushing it's on could fail at any given time and cause this thing to just completely grind itself to death. Now, let's see here, I always forget how exactly, there we go. So as you can see, this guy, it's not exactly straight on there, and it has this little pathway that's is a little bit narrower than this, so it's kind of hitting up against near the edge. And like I said, I don't know, like I barely moved this thing when before it started grinding into this when I started having this issue. So I don't know what exactly caused this defect, but yeah, it's definitely a bit troubling. Now the last issue is kind of hard to tell with this particular unit because I don't want to take it apart because I am getting it replaced by a Nova. The circuit board, I've noticed, is not conformally coated. Nova does have a Pro version which remedies this they have like an ingress protection rating, IP rating. Pro version is water resistant, but none of the other Nova models have this, and I haven't seen it in too many other wand style sous vides, so I don't know exactly what other brands support or have this conformal coating. Now, the reason that is a bad thing is because whenever you're heating up water inside of a tank and there's maybe like a cutout that isn't completely sealed up around the sous vide unit that for like a top or what have you, and a lot of people just stick these in pots and they don't have like a top or any sort of covering for the water so that they keep refilling it as the water evaporates. Now the water will evaporate, get up in the electronics, and then you run into an issue where, of course, the electronics start short-circuiting, especially since they're not conformally coated, you know, protected from this moisture. And I actually had this happen to me with this particular unit, where during a 72-hour sous vide, it just quit on me. Killed an entire rack of ribs. I just had to chuck them out because I wasn't, you know, gonna risk, you know, food poisoning to enjoy some possibly tainted meat. So definitely a big no-no. So I highly recommend, if you are serious about sous videing, maybe get the Nova Pro, but like I said, the other issues, I don't think that they've resolved those. I've seen reviews of the Pro. I also think that the Pro's impeller end is plastic instead of metal, from what I've seen from some other people showing reviews on Amazon. So that's a bit concerning to me, especially since this is knocking up against this metal surface, and I imagine it looks like it's the same exact identical, you know, shell design for the Pro. This might be metal as well for the Pro too. So that is definitely a bit concerning because obviously that plastic is gonna just get chewed up as it, you know, knocks into this, which you know, according to other people, has happened before. So big disappointment on that. Not too confident in that here. Now the interface is kind of weird. This dial works all right, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. I wish they'd put something better in there. But the app is okay. It's kind of weird sometimes. It doesn't always want to connect properly, even with like an iPhone or Android or what have you. And at least they removed the sign-on, which was the issue with these guys. They at one point they required you to sign up for an account for the app, which is bit dumb. And really, like, that's the big rant I have about this type of like technology here, is when you try to make something smart, you're ultimately taking money or away from other features. So this could probably be a pretty skookum unit, as you know, the internet likes to say, but unfortunately they spent way too much money in R&D trying to make this thing, you know, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth compliant. So definitely a hard pass on most of the Innovas. The Pro is okay, but like I said, it has the impeller issues, and I'm not sure if it is susceptible to rust like this guy is. So I can't really recommend them there. And then I looked into the Joule, because I was thinking about buying one of those before buying my next sous vide that I haven't really had a chance to test out and review just yet. So one thing I did notice is that Joule got bought out by Breville. Yeah, like they're like more of an upscale prosumer type brand. And from what I've seen in a lot of reviews from Breville type units of like sous vides, I think they also bought like another brand. It's like a more fancier towards like, it's close to like the pros. It's a higher end of the prosumer, like Polyscience. Yeah, that's what it is. And a lot of those prosumer sous vide units from them, like that are below $1,000, are, you know, they're made by Breville, and those have bad reviews as well as the Joule. So, or at least the newer Joule. So that seems to be an issue. I don't know what Breville is doing. Apparently their warranty isn't as good. So Innova was actually pretty decent. They just wanted a copy of my receipt, and they went ahead and gave me a shipping label. So that's nice. Can't really recommend this guy, but in the future, I am going to show you all my newest sous vide. Like I said, haven't had a chance to use it yet. Just been super duper busy with the holiday weekend, Black Friday, all this mess here. So some things to look out for. Like I said, the all-in-ones are pretty good. I'm going to put a few of those in the description for Amazon affiliate links and what have you. So if you want to help out the channel, and if you are interested in buying a sous vide unit, check out those links down below. And I'll try to find some good ones there for you. A few of them are pretty expensive, but there are some that are pretty nice. My mom got one with, instead of a pump, it has like one of those magnet spinner things that like a lot of chemistry mixing things use, or like that you use for like a test tube and spin the magnet around. That's an interesting concept, which seems to be a pretty decent way to like just basically just a little motor contraption, except it's just like a centrifugal force magnet. But that seems to be working all right. She's been enjoying that one, so I'll put that one as well. I believe it's a Dash brand one, so put that in the description as well. And then there's a sous vide, and then the Waring brand. But that's going to be about it for today's video. If you all like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, consider subscribing, and have a great day.